But what we're going to do today is we're going to take a nice tour of the lab. We're going to show you all the different resources that are here for you to kind of have available for you. So if you are doing teletherapy, feel free to share these materials with your families. We want to make sure that everybody is as successful as possible during these crazy times. All right. So my job, I work for PRC Saltillo, and I am the implementation specialist. So basically, I run the AAC Language Lab as well as do some trainings. And I have spoken many different conferences. So implementation is my passion, and getting kids excited about learning is what I like to do. So here we are on the homepage, and to give you a little bit of history, the Language Lab has been around for a very long time. And back in the day, it used to be just this part of the Pranky Romix website where people could upload stuff that they made. And so there was no rhyme or reason. It wasn't really organized, and we didn't really have any quality control. So we decided, all right, you know what? We're going to make this just a more thoughtful site, and we're going to put things up there that are going to be good and high quality. And so we created the AAC Language Lab probably about 8-10 years ago. And it was a subscription site, and it was, I think, like $80 American a month. And we had a section for speech therapists and one for teachers and one for parents. And what we did was we got a lot of feedback. People liked the site, but we got a lot of feedback, and we realized that it wasn't so easy to navigate, and people weren't for sure where to go next, and it was a hard time finding things. So we did a whole entire facelift. So this site was released in March, and it took us 9 months to put the whole thing together. And I kind of say, like, I felt like I was birthing a baby. So we released it in March, and we released it with all of the suggestions that we had from the older site. So I'm going to show you in a little bit where you can make suggestions. So if you see something on here that you like, or something that you think would be better a different way, or you have a brand new idea, I document everything that comes in, all of the feedback that comes in. And so as this site gets developed further, then we have all of those suggestions that we absolutely use. So here on the front, you have the Welcome to the Language Lab, and this is a little blip here about getting your free subscription. And over here in this box on the right, we have what is free. So right now, everything is free, but there are, when things get back to normal, which I'm hoping, they will, this is a subscription site. It is $20 American a year. So a pretty good deal, but right now, take advantage of the free one. And then there are free things that you can have right here. There's also this tab here on how to subscribe. So this is how you would activate that free subscription. And then we have a tab here on smart charts. So smart charts are visual representations of the different words. This site is device neutral. It doesn't matter what AAC system you are supporting, be it an app, be it one of the PRC or Saltillo devices, or be it another manufacturer. It doesn't matter. This whole site is based on words. It's based on Brown stages of language development, and how those words are represented on a device doesn't matter. On the site here, you're going to see that it's vocabulary, but we do have supports if you are using Unity or Words for Life or Word Power, because that's who sponsored this site. Okay, so the lesson plans are going to be neutral, but things like smart charts that show you these icon sequences, those are going to be device specific. Okay, so as you're looking at the site, if you want to share this with parents, here's a nice little video that kind of gives an overview of the site that you can watch. And then down here at the bottom, we have what is new. So this is the latest and greatest lesson plan. This is the latest and greatest activity. Oh yeah, and I put this up yesterday. Hey, look, it's for Easter. It's called exercise. All right, I just cracked myself up, guys. So I know I can't see you, but I'm going to be sitting here laughing to myself, and that's just what makes me happy. But anyway, here's our Easter exercise. And then we have a blog, and our blogs go up twice a week, and we'll talk about that section as we get into the site. And then down here at the bottom, we have what's most popular. So we do Google Analytics on this site, and we can see what people are using and what people aren't using, so that we can make modifications of the site based on what people like. So you can see last month was February, and we had a nice little Valentine's Day activity here that was really popular that month. And then these will get changed actually by the end of the week, because I will get the analytics for March. And then down here at the bottom, this is what you do if you want to give me some feedback. It says contact us. When you click on that, it generates an email that goes to my team, where we can either answer a question for you, or we can, if you are making a suggestion, we will actually document that and keep that so that we can see what people are asking for. All right. But we're going to come up here to the top of the site, where we have a couple tabs here at the top. Right. And this is kind of how you're going to navigate the site. But right here is getting started. And getting started is a really, oh, guess what? A good place to start. So the getting started, it's going to talk to you about the Language Lab. It's going to talk to you about a set of lesson plans called the Core Word Starter Set. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Here is where you get all the information of how the site is organized. So this is all language stages. So when I click on language stages, it takes me to the resource section where I can get the charts. So this language stage chart is based on Brown's stages of language development. Now, Brown, if you do the research, had 5 stages. And what we've done is we've expanded that first stage into 2 stages. So we have stages 1 and 2. Stage 1 is single words. This is the reason we did this was because when a kid gets a communication device, they're going to need time to learn where those words are and learn where that vocabulary is. So that's what that stage 1 is kind of like, all right, let's get you used to using a device. Let's teach you where the most frequently used words are. And then stage 2 is going to be taking those words and putting them together to make phrases. All right. So that's how we are going to find, if you're interested in those stages, that's where you would get more information on the language stages. Right. We have the language screener, which we're going to use in a minute. And then we have brand new search engines with this site. So a lot of people had problems navigating the old site. So what we've done is we've added filters and really cool ways to search the site to kind of help your journey become much, much easier. All right. But we are going to go right here. Where do I get started? Well, I'm going to dive into this language screener. So this language screener was developed by a school district here in Arizona. And I went in to support a student that had just gotten a device, and they were handing these sheets of paper out to everybody in the classroom. And they were saying, oh, just check off where you think Johnny is. What can Johnny do? And everybody's checking this off. And it was based on the language stages from the lab. And what they did was they made a paper version of it, and everybody would check it off and they turn it back to the speech therapist or the teacher. And most of the time they came back, they were all the same. But not only did you have a starting point then for where that student would start on the lab, but everybody could see the next steps and they could see the order that everything was going to be done in. So on this section, you can print that paper copy out if you want to use that, or we now have a little widget. We have a little language screener, and that's automated. So we are going to do one for my dog, and this is Zeus. So Zeus is an amazing communicator. He's a little rescue dog, and he can tell me when he wants something. He can direct my actions. Sometimes he expresses negatives, and he always, expresses requests. And then when I move on to the next stage, now I can kind of look at these next language objectives that are all included in this stage. And just for the sake of time, we're going to hit all nevers. And then when I click next, it's going to give me a choice at the bottom here. So I can either keep going and moving on throughout all of the stages, or I can finish. Now, why would I keep going on? Well, sometimes our kids may have had a previous communication device. Maybe they were on a low-tech system. So maybe they have some skills that are kind of splintered, and maybe we want to go through all of the stages to kind of see, where we need to fill in those gaps. Other times, maybe the student just got that device, and so we pretty much know, they're starting at the beginning. So I'm going to finish this, and it gives me a couple options. First of all, it tells me exactly on the lab where to start. So I can see the lesson plans and the activities for where Zeus needs to start. The other thing I can do is I can download those screener results. So now I have a PDF of this screener. So the PDF file, so now I can share this with staff. I can keep a copy of this and maybe do the screener throughout the year and kind of show progress. Use that at the end of the school for, you know, for the report card or for their individual education plan meeting. I'm not sure for sure what you guys call it, but this is a nice copy of everything that that student can do and the things that you're working on. All right. So the language screener is a great place to start. Another great place to start is this core word starter set. So this is a set of 9 lesson plans, and you can see that these are all free lesson plans. But they are based on, we did the research and we came up with the top 20 words that students need to learn first when they're learning to communicate. And so this research is actually looking at typical children, because guess what? Kids learn language no matter whether they're using an AAC system or they're learning to speak or they're using sign language. Generally, they're learning the same language, okay? Actually, this site has been used for teaching English to language learners. So we have a lot of bilingual students here in the States, and so we've got a couple of those teachers that are teaching English as a second language that utilize the lessons on our site because it's all based, again, on Brown stages of language development. So let's take a look at one of these lesson plans. So here is the balloon lesson plan, and all the lesson plans are kind of, they're all kind of organized the same way. So I can download all of the documents, all the games, all of the everything for this lesson plan all at once, or I can actually print this lesson plan, which is going to give me the PDF file. So if I am a therapist and I want to have that on a tablet or on my phone, I don't want to carry a paper copy, I can get that PDF file. Every lesson plan is going to have an objective. So these can be used in lesson plans, these can be used in individual education plans, but it's basically what you're working on. And then right here we have the data collection sheets. And this is going to be the data collection sheets for that core word starter set. So I would click on this and then that would take me to those sheets for those top 20 words. So if I am using this set, maybe a child is doing a device trial, maybe they haven't got an AAC system recommended yet, you can use the data collection sheets to kind of document like what words they're using, how they're using those words, like the pragmatics, and that could be turned in with that evaluation to whoever the funding source is. You know, this could also be used for kind of keeping data on the different students. So if they are working on, you know, objectives at school or for speech therapy, it's another way to do that. So we're just trying to make that easy for you. Also, you are going to get all the materials that you need for this lesson. So everything's listed out, what you might want to have. There's target vocabulary for each lesson. And then Realize language. So Realize is a data collection method that's available in the PRC and Saltillo communication devices. This is not going to be a training on how to use that, but if you have never done Realize, talk to your consultants down in Australia that they can kind of explain to you what it is, or you can go to realizelanguage.com, and on that homepage you can kind of see an overview, a video of what it is and what it can do. It is wonderful. Such a great tool. I use it all the time. I absolutely love it. And I highly suggest signing up for one of the free webinars that Russell Cross does. He's kind of the Realize language guru. It's a super wonderful webinar, absolutely free. And if you can't get there live, just sign up anyway. And thank you, Leanna, and she is chatting that out for you guys. If you can't get there live, sign up anyway, and you'll get a link to the recording the following day. So it's absolutely fabulous. Also here we have smart charts. It's kind of what I was talking to you about. So what we've done is we have built a database, and in that database are all the high resolution icons. So these smart charts are going to look good. And we loaded these literally icon by icon. So I'm going to tell you that is 30 days of my life that I will never get back. But we put this whole thing together so that you have access to all these smart charts for all these different language systems. So if you're using word power with PCS or board maker symbols, word power with symbol sticks, we have Unidad, which is our bilingual vocabulary, English, Spanish. We have Unity, word power with PRC symbols, or words for life, LAMP words for life. So I'm going to say, I'm going to look at the LAMP Words for Life, and I'm going to download this, and the smart chart will pop up with lovely high resolution icons. And you can utilize these in a number of different ways. So you could give that to the child and they could figure out where the different words are. But more importantly, I usually give it to the teacher or the classroom assistant or maybe mom so that they can model for the child where that language is and help them to learn where those words are on their device. All right. We have different areas different areas of learning. We have speaking. So as you hit on the show more, it's going to show you all the different speaking activities. There are reading activities, and there is always a book that will be with the lesson plan. We have writing activities, and then extension activities could be like different kinds of games, activities that you can do, and then sometimes other games. These games, if they're using icons, we will have different versions for the different devices. So you can kind of have the ones that match your device. Also, there might be a link to a video. That's something that you can use if the child is a visual learner or they like music. You can go on. We found some like really cool modern needles are fabulous for core vocabulary. And so if your student likes music, we kind of give you some suggestions. All right. And then at the top here, we also have a flip book for most of the lesson plans. And this is just a little animated story. So it's going to have a sound effect of the page turning. And watch this, when I click this, it gives you a little like, yeah, the page is turning. So it's just a way to kind of hold that student's attention. So it's just something fun that you can use if you want to. All right, and whoops. And where that was is up at the top here. Over where it says speaking, it'll be the flip book. There'll be a little link to the flip book. All right. So that is one of the core word starter set lesson plans, but we're going to go in and we're going to look at other lesson plans. So what we've added, so you can see here that we have all the stages. So whatever stage you are on, that's what you would click to get to that stage, and then all your lesson plans for that stage. And then the different objectives. So we're in stage 2. This is 2 and 3 word phrases, adding more phrases, directing actions, expressing negatives, expressing requests. But we can also use these filters on the side. So here we have all of the lesson plans that are going to have a Spanish book. So in the States, we have a lot of bilingual students. We have students that are coming from a variety of different countries. And so we have Spanish versions of the books. We have young adult versions of the book. So you can see here, these lesson plans have young adult versions. What does that mean? So if you are working with an older student and you want something that's a little bit more age appropriate, you could choose the young adult. So they'll have a little YA after them, stands for young adult. And those graphics are going to be a little bit more age appropriate, so not so cartoony. They're going to be usually photographs or drawings that, again, aren't, so juvenile. We also have a way to look for mobile lesson plans. So mobile lesson plans are less, so if you are the therapist and you have an iPad and you want to use an app to kind of help teach us an objective, this is not for the student necessarily to play with. This would be for them to interact with. So they're going to have their device and then separate an iPad with the app on it. So if they are using like LAMP Words for Life or Touch Chat on an iPad, this would not be a game that they would play on that device. This would be something that they would do separate. But if you go to the App Store, sometimes we get a little overwhelmed because there's so many apps now. What we've done is taken the guesswork out, and we've found ones that are going to be good for you to use for therapy. All right. And then we also have the UK versions of some of the books. So we are now available in the United Kingdom, and the Brits talk a little bit differently than we do in America, so they wanted their own version, and we were like, that's fine. The other thing you can do is search for target vocabulary. So if you are working on a certain word, so maybe we're working on more, it's going to show me all of the lesson plans that more is one of those target vocabulary words. Or I can look for a concept. So I'm going to clear these filters, and maybe I'm going to be working on shapes or colors or whatever. And it'll tell me, oh, there's a shape one in stage 1, and then there was a shape book that was in stage 4. Okay. All right, so we're going to clear our filters. So use those filters to help narrow down what you're looking for. All right. Okay, so here is one of my favorite lesson plans. So this is a lesson plan about monsters. And what we tried to do with a lot of the activities that are in the lesson plans and activities that are in the activity section, which I'm going to show you, is we try to find things that are super simple, easy to set up, but really, really fun and motivating for the kids. Okay, so here is a typical lesson plan. Again, we've got our materials, our objectives, our target vocabulary words. But in this speaking section, this is one of my favorite games, and I've done this with multiple kids in multiple classrooms. So this is a game called Monster Mouth. And what you do is you get 2 grocery bags, like the brown grocery bags, or you can go to the lawn and garden. You know, they have the big brown bags that you can put all your leaves and sticks in. And so what we do is we have that big bag, we cut a hole out for the mouth, and we put some eyes on there, and we play a game. So we're working on these target vocabulary words. We'll have all of those words on the table. Student gets to pick one. If they can find it on their talker, they get to ball it up and throw it into the mouth. And they crack up because they're throwing something in the classroom or at home or whatever they're doing. It's like absolutely fun. But what's cool about this activity is you can do it a gazillion different ways. So we call this repetition with variety. We have one game. The student learns the concept of that game, and they can play it a variety of different ways. So I was in a classroom with a bunch of 12-year-olds, and we were playing this game. Now, mind you, their IEPs, their education plans said that they would attend to an activity for 5 to 10 minutes. We played this game probably for 45 minutes, and they did not want to stop, but it was lunchtime and they all had to go, but they were just totally engaged. And what we did was we had students on different levels. So Kevin had just got his device. Kimmy had her device for a while, and she was working on putting words together. And then Stefan had his device for a long time. And so he was working on sentences, like putting full sentences together. So when each child found a word, Kevin just had to find the word. Kimmy had to use that word in a phrase, and Stefan got to use that word in a sentence. So we just changed the objectives based on the student's skills. Well, I went back a couple weeks after we had played the original game, and the parapros, the classroom assistants, had totally blinged out this crazy bag. They had eyelashes on it and lipstick on it, and they were using it for every subject area. They were throwing math facts in there. They were doing science definitions. And so this mouth, this crazy monster mouth of a bag that cost like absolutely nothing, because I got it from the grocery store, what turned out to be one of the favorite classroom activities. Absolutely fun. So again, we have speaking activities, we have reading activities, we have writing activities, and this one has a template. So when we open up one of our writing templates, what we've done is we've made these all with fillable text boxes. So the student can draw their monster here, and now they can use their device to write about their monster, all right? If that is a high-end communication device, so if it's a dedicated device that has computer emulation capabilities, then you can actually plug the device into the USB port, and that becomes an alternative keyboard. Your consultants can totally show you how to do this. It is so incredibly powerful. But the student can use their icon sequencing to write their sentences, to write their story. And it is, the kids absolutely love it because they're using their device and the words are popping up on the screen, and you've got them. You've got them hooked, they're nailed, they're just ready to write. And writing is a wonderful way for them to explore their device, because guess what? Writing is editable. You can delete words and add words and change words. So they can do this over and over again until they get it exactly the way they want it. And then you can print out whatever their story is, and then they can read it to the classroom. So lots of fun, lots of really good learning can be done with the writing. So the writing templates, again, are interactive PDFs. And then there's always a game that's included as well. At the bottom of your lesson plan, there's homework cards. So these homework cards are meant to be sent home. So if you want to make a copy of the book for mom to use at home or dad to use at home, and you want to have the different games, we've kind of made some suggestions. Our goal is to get the device out of the book bag. I don't know if you have this problem in Australia, but here in the States, sometimes the books stay in the book bag, and we know that because they come to school the next day and the device has not been charged. And so we're like, oh, mom, no, pull it out, because guess what? It is so incredibly easy. Thank you, Leanna. So yeah, there seems to be a problem maybe globally with devices. So what these homework cards are super simple, fun activities that take maybe 5 or 10 minutes that the parents can do at home. And we want this to be easy and just really relatable, and everybody working on the same goal at the same time, because then that student is going to be that much more successful. So again, feel free to share these homework cards. All right. Also at the bottom, we have some guided lessons here. This kind of gives you a little bit of help. So you've done the monster lesson, and maybe we need a little bit more help. Maybe we need to reinforce this language objective again, so we can just click on more practice, and that'll take us to the next lesson in that language objective. Or, man, we're rock stars. We finished it. It's done. We know what we're doing. We're going to go to the next section. So that'll allow us to do that. And then at the bottom, here in the States, we have something called the Common Core Standards. So I don't think you guys have to deal with that. But again, that's another month of my life I will never get back, was putting all these standards together, because they're all by grade level. All right. So these are our lesson plans. All right. So I encourage you, get in there, explore, check them all out. There are a lot of them. All right. Next section we're going to go to are the activities. So this is a brand new section to this website. And what these are just fun games and activities. So you are doing therapy and you've got 10 minutes at the end. Oh my gosh, I need something to do. You can come to this activity section and grab one of these. All right. These are great for at home as well. So you can share these with the parents and say, hey, here's a bingo game that you guys can play as a family. And there's all kinds of really interesting, cool, fun things in here. So this is the one I put up yesterday. Did you know, you guys have these Peeps here for Easter, these crazy like marshmallow little chicks that are like totally covered in sugar and totally nasty? Well, like, I don't ever eat them, but they're really fun to put in the microwave because they totally blow up. But what we've done is you take 5 of the Peeps and you put some flour and some shortening in there, throw them in the microwave, and you make really amazing dough. It makes Play-Doh. Who knew? And so you can make Peep Play-Doh. And it's totally edible, so very safe if the child is one of the ones that likes to put things in their mouth. It's absolutely fun. But yeah, you got to watch it while it's in the microwave, because they will explode before they get really small again. It's absolutely fun. So these activities are meant to be just that, little kinds of fun things that you would do instead of a whole entire lesson plan. All right, and so let me show you the filters. Whoops. Yeah, the filters for the activities. So when I click on filters, now I can search for video or an app or a book or a poster or a game or crafts, cooking lesson, something for preschoolers, something for reading, or the different holidays. All right, so when we just put these Easter ones up, so when I click on that, it's going to show me that one, and then, yeah. Also, I can search for the target vocabulary. Also, I can search for the keywords, the same as I had done before. All right. So these are all, we're going to clear these filters. These are all by the stages. All right. Oh, and let me show you, we have an AAC Language Lab group on Facebook, which I highly encourage everybody to join. So if you are on social media and you are on Facebook, we have an AAC Language Lab group that you can join. And what we're doing is we are posting, there I am live. That was today. We are posting videos of all these different activities, of things that you can use on the lab, and it shows you basically how to use it. So like this one is one on the core word jump cards, which is one of the activities. And it kind of gives you like an overview of how to do the activity so you can see it live and in action. This is also where you can ask questions, and it's also where all of our announcements will be when we're doing cool, fun things. All right, so I highly encourage you to join that. But here's one of my favorite activities that is a new one. So if you're just getting started, or maybe you're doing teletherapy and you're trying to help mom and dad at home support their child with their AAC system. So the Give Me 5 activity is something that you would do prior to playing any game, whatever that child's favorite game is. And it's a simple worksheet that when we open this up, it's going to say, all right, we're going to think of 5 things that we can do with 5 words that we can use with this activity. All right, so we are going to make this small here so you guys can see it. Whoa, we're not going to make it that small. There we go. So maybe we are playing with Play-Doh. So I put the name of the toy here, and then what words can I teach while we're playing with Play-Doh? So I might have put, I might have make, I may have stop, I may have mine, I could have colors, I could have whatever, but it kind of gives you, it gives you like this way to kind of pre-plan what those words are going to be. And so this is a great one because it's so incredibly easy. I mean, it's so incredibly simple that you can share with everybody, you know, and you can share this with brothers and sisters. Say, hey, if you're playing your Barbies with your sister, what words could you work on with her? And the kids could do it, right? So your activity is going to have an objective. It'll have, some of it will have target vocabulary. If they're open-ended like this, you're not going to have any target vocabulary, so there'll be no smart chart. And then again, you can simply, you know, download what you're doing. The cool thing that we have added is we have all the different stages, but we also have one called All Levels. And these are those games that are going to be able to be played with students at different levels using different devices. You know, it doesn't matter. They're just really fun games to play. And you can play them a variety of different ways. And also on here, we have some of our poetry templates. And so this is one of my favorite things. And actually, I will be doing this live, oh my gosh, tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow. Tomorrow on the Facebook Live. So if you join Facebook tomorrow, you will see me do a demo of all the poetry templates that are on the lab. The first time we did this, there is a therapist here in Arizona named Caroline Musselwhite. And Caroline is, she kind of goes globally. She goes all over the place and does training. She's really just a wonderful speech therapist and is very, very practical. And we were doing a summer activity, a summer kind of camp here in Phoenix. And she said, oh my gosh, we're going to do a poetry camp. And I'm like, poetry? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm thinking of like Emily Dickinson or Robert Frost. And I had no idea what I was in for. And it turned out to be probably one of the most powerful weeks of my life, because what's wonderful about poems is there's no right or wrong answer. It's a way to express yourself. All right. And so this is like, I mean, this is just one example. These again are all interactive fillable text boxes. And so the student can tell you what their mom is. Mom is what? Mom is pretty, mom is funny. And we've done this so many different times. And sometimes the student will be writing something and I'm just like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And then mom reads it and everything has absolute meaning to it. So it's just wonderful. But how often do we ask our kids to express themselves freely and openly? And what's nice about this, again, they can delete and change it a gazillion different times until they get it exactly the way they want it. I didn't realize how powerful this was until we were doing, I went into this classroom again with these 12-year-olds, and we were doing an I am poem. Now the I am poem is just like this, mom is. I am blank, I am blank, I am not. And you can also do I like, or he is, or we are, or we need, and you can do it a million different ways. So it's that repetition with variety. But we were actually doing an I like poem. And so there was a young woman in this class who was probably on the spectrum. And so she had some really bad behaviors, and she would have these meltdowns and these tantrums. And when she had a meltdown, like the kids would dive under the desk, they were terrified because she was just so upset. And she was writing her poem, and the teacher, after she wrote it, sent it to me and said, I'm crying a river, because she wrote, I like Kevin, I like Kim, I like Stefan, I don't like me. And the teacher was like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, that's so wonderful, because guess what? Now we know she had a way to express herself. I mean, how can a kid say that and at any other time? And so we really got a feeling for why she was so upset half the time. Was, she had some self-esteem issues, and we were able to build her up and help her through those things. So the poem is just a wonderful way to do that. So there's a lot of poetry templates that are on here. So get in here, go to the all levels, and you can explore them. So when I come in here, I see these 12, and then I can show more, and it's going to take me through a variety. Look at all these different activities that are in here. So a lot of stuff that's here. All right. So those are activities. Now we're going to move on to curriculums. So Leanne, I'm going to ask you, in Australia, do you guys use News to You or Unique, which is a curriculum for self-contained special ed classes? Not really. Then we're not going to go there, because I'm not wasting your time. All right. But what we do have is we have Literacy Through Unity. Literacy Through Unity is incredibly powerful. It is a curriculum that was written by Dr. Karen Erickson and Gretchen Hanser at the Center for Literacy and Disabilities here in the United States. But Karen speaks globally. She's been all over the world. She's absolutely amazing, and I'm pretty sure she's been to Australia many times. This is a curriculum that we used to sell for $100, but you get it with your subscription to the lab. Oh, so let's see, it's free right now, so you get it for free. All right. So this is going to be a little video about Literacy Through Unity that you can watch. But when you come in here to view this course, we've kind of made this a little bit more intuitive for you. So you can start the course. Right now, we have it available for Unity 60, Unity 84, Words for Life, and I am currently working on a version for Word Power 60 Basic. So that is 2/3 of the way done, and we're working on that. All right. So there are 3 sections. Each section has 50 lessons. Each lesson is scripted out totally. It tells you exactly what to say. So you do not have to have a PhD in literature to be able to teach this. It is wonderful. I have seen parents give it to babysitters to do. The classroom assistant can do this with no problem. It is wonderful. So the 3 sections are, let me see. So how do I use it? I'm going to take you in here. So there's 3 sections. There is the word wall, and this is teaching students sight words. Okay. So there are 50 lessons for the word wall words. And as you go through, the student is learning that those letters get put together. The letters make sounds. All the letters get together. They make words. And we're going to learn some of the most common words. All right. So this is kind of what a word wall would look like. So up here, we're going to say, how do you do it? It kind of gives you the steps, and then you can watch a video that actually shows a lesson in action. All right. So here we have making words with icons. So this is the second 50 lessons that you would learn. So it's going to teach on the Unity and Words for Life systems how those icons are organized. So you're going to look at pronoun phrases. You're going to look at the most common prepositions and putting those icons together to make those words. So again, here's instructions on how to do it, and then the video of how to do that. And then finally, we have making words with letters. Now, I think this is fascinating. We're going to teach phonics to our kids that are nonverbal. So a lot of the phonics that kids typically learn in school is a lot of repetition, saying the letters out loud. Our kids necessarily can't do this. So Karen will have it scripted out like, I'm going to say this letter out loud. You say it in your head. We're going to make the sound for T. T says T, and you go through that. So again, they start using these letters, putting the letters together to make their words, and then they can check it on their word cards. So all of these materials are with this curriculum. Everything is made for you. You just have to print it out and use it. And it's all paper. Like this is not done on the computer. This is all just done with paper. So if you print it and laminate it, you're going to have it to use with multiple students. So pretty powerful. I will tell you, I worked with a young woman in Arizona who was she was in high school, and she didn't want to use her device anymore. She was like, I look different. I want to be cool. None of my friends use devices. I don't want to use my device. And her mean length of utterance was at about 1.5. So, she barely used it. And the therapist and I sat down and we're like, let's try literacy through Unity with her. And so we did all 150 lessons with her, and we sat down at her meeting at the end of the school year, and it was called a transition meeting, where the school district is determining what the next step after graduation is going to be. And this mom she was a powerful mom. So she came with all the therapists. She came with all the home health therapists. She wanted the special ed director to be there, all the teachers to be there. It was a crazy meeting, and she invited me, and I said, I don't really belong at this meeting. I just work with communication devices. And she's like, no, please, can you be there? So I was warned that this meeting was going to be 2 hours. It was going to be crazy. Well, we walked in, and the young woman had her device, and she said, I want to work with small children. I want to work in preschool. And the head of special ed looked at her and said, you know what? We can make that happen. We can get you training. You can be a classroom assistant in one of the preschools in the district. That's a great goal for employment. And we had all of the realized data that we had taken while we were teaching her how to read. And her mean length of utterance went from 1.5 to like 6.8. So she was putting full sentences together. She knew her device inside and out. She was so much more competent, and she learned to read. So literacy through Unity is a precursor to a standard reading program. Take a minute and explore it. It is absolutely fabulous. All right. Another thing that we added was something called BRICS, which is building relationships and independence through communication supports. I went to a university in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia, called Temple University. And at Temple University, when I was a grad student, and you guys, this was many, many, many years ago. So this was 1989, I think. They had a program called ACEs, which was Augmentative Communication and Empowerment Seminar. And I think actually they brought ACEs to Australia many, many years ago. So there, I can tell you some of the graduates that I know in Australia, because I've seen them at Isaac that have gone through the program. But basically what it is we ask somebody what your dream is. What do you want to do with your life? And oftentimes our adults, nobody ever asks them that. And so what we've done is ACEs was a 2-week seminar at Temple University that people had to go to, or if it was in South Africa, at Pretoria, they sponsored one. We've done them in Canada. We've done them all over the place. But it's pretty intense, and it can be expensive. So what we wanted to do was we wanted to bring it to the masses. And what we did was we tried this out in Phoenix at an adult day program. So there was an adult day program where they worked on employment skills and they worked on, educational stuff. But we had 14 adults that used AAC. And what we did was we first started with training the staff. So the staff that worked in that day program weren't teachers. They were, basically making, $15 an hour to sit with these clients, but they had no real training. And so we talked to them about what is AAC? How can you be a good communication partner? How, some just simple skills like, okay, giving them time, don't answer for them, make sure that you're standing behind them when they're talking to somebody, just best practices. And then we said, who are you? And what is your dream? So we would make these dream boards for each of our clients. And so this is Norelli's, and Norelli, she wants to live at home, and she has some people that are going to help her. So she named those people, but she wanted to be a speecher. So basically what she said she wanted to do was teach other kids how to use their devices. And so she called it a speecher. I was like, that's brilliant. Like, that's the coolest one. And so we said, okay, here's your first steps. You're going to have to be a better reader. You might want to look at some college classes. You're going to have to learn to use your device really, really well. And so we put a whole plan together for her. And then the director of the employment services at that adult day program utilized that to come up with her individual service plan and to develop her own goals. It was pretty cool. So what we've done is we have little modules for being a good communicator, and then for social skills. So how to use social media. How are we going to email? How do you program stuff on your device? How do you talk to your personal assistant? How do you tell your assistant what you want and don't want? So these are all just really nice things, but they're all kind of adult focused. So this is a new section that we have here. All right, you guys ready? We're we're going on. Resources. So we have lots of resources that are available to you. All right. And again, we have filters that you can look through. So you might be looking for a specific language system. You might be looking for an age, a target audience. Are you a therapist, a teacher? And then different topics. The other thing that you can do, if you can't remember where something is there is a site-wide search up here at the top right that you can use and search for things here. So I know that I'm looking for that Give Me 5 activity. I don't remember where it is. You can type it in there and look for it. So here are our categories. We have evaluation tools. So here is how to rate yourself. Are you a good modeler? Are you really modeling like you should be? And this is a really simple way for you to kind of self-check on that. Here's an interest inventory for your student. So you know how to plan those lessons. This is really powerful for child therapy. Give this to your parents. Let them fill it out so that you know ahead of time what that student likes to do at home, so you can kind of guide your lessons around activities that they already like. Here's how to write effective goals. We have a pragmatic profile. I mean, just get in here and you can explore all the cool things that are here for you to do. All right. Then we have therapy materials. So we have a literacy planner. We have calendars. We have using core words in everyday activities. So you can come in here and it's going to be like some nice single activities to use during, like, I'm sorry, single vocabulary, what vocabulary to use when you're doing an art lesson or a music lesson, things like that. And there would be Explore AAC, and just a ton of things for you to kind of look. So if you're looking for something to do, there's a lot of ideas that are here. We have, again, all the language charts that we've based the whole entire site on. I have these hanging up in my office. I utilize them all the time. We have manual communication boards for you. So you always want to have a backup system. Trust me, devices break, they don't get charged, things happen. Always have a way for that student to communicate no matter what. I can pull this out of my bag and in a pinch, use this when I need it. I have tips for using realized language. So after you go to that webinar, you can come here and see some like easy, fun things that you can do. And then we have word lists and vocabulary resources. Some of these resources are going to be specific to Unity, Words for Life, and Word Power, just because this is a nice place for us to add them. So if you're looking for a year of words, if you're looking for Dolch word lists, smart charts, things like that, this is where you would find them. All right. Okay, we're almost done here, guys. How are you doing? I guess, this is good for you because it's in the morning for you guys. Here, it's almost happy hour for me. So like when I'm done with this, I'm going to go get my glass of wine. All right, last section we have here is our blogs. I love our blogs. Our blogs go up twice a week and we have amazing bloggers. And so blogs are going to be, there's all these different categories, all different topics of things. All right. So here is Emily, and Emily is from the UK. She's one of our consultants in Northern England. And she is talking about, okay, you've got this device. What do we do to get started? And so she talks about all the things that you can do just to get started and give you a little chart here to get you started. One of my favorite bloggers, he blogs for me every week, is Kyle. And Kyle is out of Missouri, which is kind of the middle of the states. And he is talking about everything being canceled because of the COVID virus. So not only are they not able to find toilet paper, but he can't go to church and he can't do some of he can't go to the coffee shop that he likes and some of his favorite things. And he uses a communication device and he is just fabulous. He is really, really funny and very insightful. And if you're working with a parent perhaps that has never met a kid that is using a communication device that is really an effective communicator, you can bring them to the blog area, or you can bring them over here. If you go under blog, the last one right here is ambassadors. So we have this group of device users that we think are just absolutely fabulous. And we've asked them to tell you more about themselves. So you can come here and say, oh, who is Hannah? Oh my gosh, look, Hannah uses a touch chat I'm sorry, a Nova Chat, and she's got word power, and she's in college, and she talks about herself. And then there is a little video that kind of shows Hannah in action and kind of shows how she's communicating, how she's interacting with her device, and you can see. All right. So you can come in here and read all about these different bloggers. I'm sorry, ambassadors. What's really cool is some of them have just their profile, and then some of them have created videos. And then the ones that have created videos are actually, I don't know how to edit a video. And so I asked one of my ambassadors to be my editor for me. So I'm going to show you, let's see, here he is. This is Dan. He's got the best name ever. His name is Dan Pop. So this is Dan Pop, and he is my video editor. He does all of the editing on his iPad, and he is just absolutely fabulous and a funny, wonderful kid. And so we're pretty proud of our ambassadors. And if you have anybody that you want to recommend to our ambassador program, talk to your consultant, because we would love to share their information on the site and make them a rock star. All right, my friends, I know I speak fast, don't I? So we are at the top of the hour. I am going to hang out here, and Leanne can unmute herself and come back on and let me know if there are any questions. I am so thankful that you guys took the time to come today and kind of see my baby in action, and I hope you enjoy the site. And again, please feel free to stay in touch. Use this Contact Us button at the bottom here for questions or any kind of suggestions that you have. We are open to everything. I love to hear from everybody.